This time I will yield to the ranking member of the Trade Subcommittee, Mr. McDermott, for the purposes of an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A month ago, Mr. Brady and Mr. Levin and I were in Honolulu talking to TPP country officials. In our meetings, we were struck by the urgency that so many representatives of other countries had for a strong agreement. I think we all see big potential in this agreement. Asia-Pacific countries, as you've heard, account for 40% of the global population and together generate 56% of the global GDP in 2010. Indeed, my home state, Washington State, exports nearly 70% of its total exports to markets in Asia. But we have to do things right if we are to unlock the potential of TPP. We have to ensure that TPP lives up to its billing as a 21st century agreement. This is all the more important because, as President Obama said in Honolulu last month, quote, "The TPP has the potential to be a model not only for Asia-Pacific, but for future trade agreements," close quote. So what does it mean to be a 21st century trade agreement? To me, it means an agreement that can help create American jobs and promote American values. TPP must tackle the range of real-world barriers to competition. This means not just tariffs and non-tariff barriers, but also things like unfair competition from state-owned enterprises. In June, every Democratic member of the Ways and Means Committee signed a letter to President Obama identifying state-owned enterprises as one of the greatest of the 21st century challenges faced by U.S. businesses and workers, and urging robust SOE disciplines in TPP. Ensuring that the SOEs, state-owned enterprises, compete on an even playing field with private actors has to be the critical component of any TPP agreement. This is all the more important when countries like Japan that are seeking to enter into this. Japan is notorious for its range of methods it uses to close its markets to foreign competition. This includes special benefits for SOEs such as the Japanese Post, as well as a host of tariff and non-tariff measures in sectors ranging from agriculture to autos to pharmaceuticals. USTR has just initiated a comment period to help in deciding whether Japan should be allowed at the negotiating table. I personally am one who think they ought to be at the table. I think we ought to have that opening, but we'll see what the comment period brings. Some are skeptical that Japan will really open its markets. Skeptics think Japan will continue to use creative methods to keep out foreign goods and services while taking advantage of other countries' TPP trade concessions. This is clearly an unacceptable result. We need to make sure we do not end up there if we are to agree to Japan's participation. We also need to look carefully at the rules of origin that determine which products will get duty-free treatment and create rules that help keep the maximum benefit of the FTA and thus the greatest number of jobs in the TPP region. We also need to incorporate and, where appropriate, build on the so-called May 10th agreement. That congressional executive agreement reflected state-of-the-art thinking on a range of critical issues, including labor, environment, and intellectual property. May 10th has to be the basis for TPP and all other FTAs going forward. Speaking as a physician with experience in LDCs, lesser developed countries, I think we got it pretty close to right in the May 10th agreement on IPR access to medicines. We crafted language that ensured protection for innovation, but also ensured that life-saving generics would be available in developing countries at the exact same time they become available in the United States. This is consistent with core American values. Lives are at stake. Poor people in poor countries shouldn't have to die because they don't have the affordable medicines we have here. And I've been very disappointed by the USTR's move away from that policy. I think this reported change would be deeply flawed. Hopefully, USTR can address this issue in its testimony today. The expectations are high for this agreement, as are the stakes. And I think we can overcome them, but we have a lot of work ahead of us. I look forward to working with the administration and our Republican colleagues to get there. Thank you. I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott. Today.